We're live. Like, I did it.
You did it.
There's the neck. There it is, folks. It's been a minute. Sorry, I prematurely
That was
ended
abrupt. Next
it was
time I want
abrupt.
a slow fade.
Fade.
A slow
I
fade out. Yeah.
I'm learning, like, I'm 100% learning as we go. But we
Uh-huh.
got it. We got it. Yes. Hi, everybody. It's the Joe and BDD show. I'm Joe Carducci, and I am joined by my friend Majid Padelin, also known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant. We apologize. I mostly apologize. It has been a minute. It's summer and it's crazy, and everybody does things and they go places and they fill cups and all the things. And I was away in Chicago with my kids, and then I had to come back and take my son camping to meet people he was camping with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Needless to say, we are here now. So hi to everybody in the chat, and hi, Brooklyn.
Oh, what's up? What's up? Did you get a deep dish? Did you get
Well,
a Chicago deep dish
no.
pizza? What?
We were very
You went
near.
to Chicago and you didn't get the deep dish? I'm kidding.
Like,
I don't care for the
I
deep
know.
dish.
I don't care for it
It's
either,
messy. It's
It's
messy.
not really
You need a
pizza.
knife and fork for that. And I'm sorry. I don't enjoy eating pizza with a knife and fork. It's like, what?
No, much, much, much love for Chicago. Um, and no shade, but it's not pizza. It's not pizza. And I'm very partial, as you would guess, to New York style pizza. I
Yes.
believe New Jersey is the best pizza in the country, whatever.
That
But
is not correct. That is
no,
incorrect.
we did catch the Yankees beat the Cubbies at Wrigley, though, and that was amazing. It poured the entire time, but we still enjoyed the hell out of it. I am absolutely in love with that stadium. Absolutely, absolutely enamored, obsessed with Wrigley. It is a beautiful park, and they don't make them like that anymore. So that's all.
I've never been.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, have you been to Fenway?
Actually, no. I was outside Fenway, but never. You mean
Oh,
wait? You talk about where the Red Sox play?
yes,
Fenway?
yeah, yeah. They
Yeah,
have a
no, no.
similar feeling. They were built, I think, in a similar time frame. I could be wrong, guys. Check me on that. But I've been to Fenway now, and I've been to Wrigley, and the feeling is just like you're immersed in baseball. You know what I mean? It's not
Is
like
it old
these.
timey?
Yes, it's, not like these impersonal mega stadiums that they have now. There's not a bad seat in the
Yeah.
whole place. And they don't have separations between the sections in a way that it's like this hierarchy. So I love it. And I don't love the Red Sox, but I really do like the Cubs.
It-
And if I lived in Chicago, I'd be a Cubs fan.
were you able to sneak down to the expensive seats? Did you
Well,
try it?
no,
Did you
because
try
we
it?
were going just the one time.
Uh,
This is a fun fact. I did get us good seats that
Why do you not
there's this.
try?
Well, we were in good seats. That's why. Like what I'm saying. We were in the
Oh,
good
oh.
seats. We were in the very good seats. We're not in the seats with like the clubhouse or anything like that. We were behind those people. But A-Rod showed up and he sat in the section in front of us about 50 yards away with his girlfriend, which was
Wow.
very, very cool. My son did try to sneak over to get his autograph, and they were like, nope. So
Oh,
that
that's
did
too
not
bad.
happen. But yeah, we got to see A-Rod real up close with his very young looking girlfriend. Just leave that out there. But
That's how they
yeah,
do. That's what they do.
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how are
Mhm.
you? And what have you been up to before we jump into the topics du jour?
My favorite thing of the past week or two was watching the preview to Spider-Man: Brand New Day, and I absolutely
Mm,
adore that movie. I cannot wait to see it again in the theaters. It
yeah.
was a 10 out of 10, brilliant movie. Loved it, absolutely loved it, floored by it. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm up to.
And you saw the Odyssey as well, which I saw, which was also
I
tremendous.
did. I
And two
liked that.
Zendaya movies.
Wait, not just Zendaya, but also Tom Holland and also John Barenthal. The three of them were in those two
Duh.
movies together.
Yeah, that's
Fun
so
fact.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Odyssey, by the way, was also exceptional, but it was so loud that I was like, this can't be right. Is this right? Like, I'm so old that I'm
It's
like, is
right.
that very loud? Like, can you turn it down? Because I was like, holy cow, like I could feel it in my chest, and I was like, this is. But that I guess
Oh, did
is,
you
you know,
see
I wanted to.
IMAX?
No, that's what I want to do. I'm like, if it's gonna be that loud in
Okay.
just a regular movie theater, I should have gone all into like the 4D or whatever that stuff is, like the IMAX where the floor vibrates and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a 4D experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. But two woke movies that have broken records at the box office. People
I
on
was
the
surprised
right.
that they surpassed Melania's box office haul. I was
No,
surprised because
what are you talk about?
Donald Trump just said that Melania was the number one
Yes,
movie of the year,
that's true. You be careful. You don't.
and
You
he
don't.
wouldn't lie to
Yeah,
us.
no, never. No, it was also yes, it was the number one movie of the year before and after the Vandals sliced the reflecting pool, and before and
It's a
after
true story.
we won in Iran on day one, 5 months ago. Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
truest story that never happened.
You know what else is true or not true? I'm gonna play with this and see how do you do this. I'm gonna try and put a picture up here. So bear with me, friends, because I'm just learning how to do this, and that's not how you do it.
You got the
Um,
picture?
so you get the picture first. Sorry, friends. We're building the plane. This is a real picture. That
Yeah, it's horrendous.
I'm I,
That's from
I
last
don't.
night.
Yes, and, this is from last night. The
Somebody apparently told him that it looked good.
yeah, so here we are 2 days apart. Apart is a
Yeah.
funny pun here.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but do they think that we're stupid?
Yes, they do.
Uh,
They do. They
'Cause
they
hair that
absolutely
wasn't
do.
there doesn't just show up, in 2 days, but the memes are hilarious.
Mhm.
Absolutely hilarious. There's varying degrees of this,
Yeah.
and
Hey,
then
that's the picture from your Substack.
yes,
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
thank
big
you
one.
for noticing that. That's why we were late today. Because my ass again trying to get that. It's not a real picture, obviously. That's also not a real picture, but they are
What?
hilarious.
I'm
I know,
surprised. It
shocking,
looks so realistic.
right?
You
But
hardly even
this
notice it.
it reminds me it reminds me it made me think of this cartoon dog, and tell me if you remember him.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's from the, Looney Tunes.
yeah, Sam the
He was
sheepdog.
just That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Trump took his little hair and put it on his head. Oh my god. I mean, yes, the content of what he was saying last night was insane and unhinged as per usual. He was talking about how Canada is nasty. Apologies to our friends to the north. Canada is anything but nasty. He's talking about how we're
Mhm.
the hottest economy in the world. And as you pointed out, that he inherited a bad economy from this bad economy from Barack Obama.
It makes no sense. It makes no
No.
sense. Wait, here's the thing that it's the what drives me batshit crazy is not that he says these things. It's that the people around him endorse those things, that they condone his delusion. They're like, sure, grandpa, sure. Like there's a meme that shows like an old person with a walker, and there's a young person saying, okay, grandma, let's get you back to the home. Like, uh, these are grown ass people who are going along with his delusion. And I will say this, I think I might have said this before on this show. I'm going to say it again. I think that Donald Trump is the make a wish president.
Mhm.
So, you know how that make a wish thing works, right? It's
Mhm.
children who have terminal illnesses. They are granted whatever wish they want. You want to go to Disney, you want to go here, you want to go there, whatever. You want to meet your favorite celebrity, etc. Anything, nothing is beyond reason. And that this is how adults in his circumference are treating Donald Trump. Oh, Grandpa, you want to have a fight on the White House lawn? Let's do that. Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Mhm.
you want to go to game 3 of the Knicks at the Madison Square?
Ugh.
Sure. You want to put your name on the building? Okay, no problem, Grandpa. Anything he wants to do is no problem. He wants to play make believe, that he won all three elections that he was a part of.
Mhm.
Sure, no problem. We're not going to disabuse you of that fallacy.
Well, so much so that even after Judge Box of Wine, Janine Pirro, had her U.S. Attorney's office drop the charges against the Olympian for vandalizing the
Hmm.
reflecting pool. They admitted
Yeah.
in her dropping the case that it was not vandalism, that it was a botched paint job.
Hmm.
Even still, Doug Burgum, who I have decided looks like the eagle from the Muppets, but if you, like,
Oh,
crossbred him with Teresa Giudice, even
that's funny.
after she dropped it and cited all the facts that they have and don't have, he still said that it was vandalism, and so did, of course, Donald Trump repeatedly, and so did Todd Blanche yesterday. They don't wanna upset him, so much so that the Secretary of the Interior and the probable Attorney General of the United States of America are still lying about something their own US attorney says is not true. They don't wanna upset him, and so they are lying. They are continuing to lie.
You see this comment here by 13th. Uh, can't read what that says, but it says MAGA cares more about that pool than the high price of gas. And that is true. That
It's
is
very
true.
true.
And
I'm
it's so
trying
weird. These things that make if you go to the comments tab and just click on, yeah.
I see. Where is it again? Say it again. Oh, there it
Uh,
is.
there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true
Um,
though.
yeah. Well, why are they supporting all this buffoonery when none of it puts food on your table, puts gas in your tank, pays your electricity bill, or pays your medical bills? None of it. It doesn't do any of that stuff. You know, it doesn't even make you feel better than anybody. It's dumb. It's dumb.
No, it's an absolute disaster. I mean, it's a cult. Like it's absolutely a cult. And the thing is too though, even though they'll believe just about anything he says, they're not believing him on this economy shit because they're not feeling that. They,
Oh,
they, like he was last night he kept telling him we're the hottest economy in the world and
A
prices are
plus.
coming down. A plus prices are coming down. That's just not true. And
No.
everybody knows that it's not true. So there was dead silence in the room. And nobody was buying it because it's so ridiculous on its face.
Actually, I did see a bunch of. I did watching both CNN and MS Now, a bunch of interviews of actual MAGA people, people who said they voted for him three times, and they were asked what grade they would give his economy. And they were all like either F or D
Mm.
minus. One person gave him a D minus. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's probably an upgrade from where we are right now. I mean, it's just again, the gas prices are going back up. There's no end in sight for Iran, none whatsoever. He doesn't have there's no extraction plan here. He's talking about now there's this big fight or supposed fight that he had with Hegseth over the
Oh,
munition
but
stockpiles. I want to
yeah.
get your take
Hmm.
on that and everybody in the chat too, because I've been getting some pushback on what I think is going on here, which is that it's not being leaked at all or that it's intentional leak. I don't think that that fight happened. I actually think that Trump is intentionally depleting our munition stockpiles. He's saying he didn't know and that Hegseth wasn't honest with him. I don't believe that because he needs an end for the Putin for that war that he can't end. And if he says to the world, "Oh, we've depleted our stockpiles, but I didn't know it," Ukraine can't expect us to sell them stock munitions anymore. And that's already been happening. So Ukraine is already having a harder time defending themselves because they can't keep up without the munitions that we were selling them or selling NATO. So I think that all roads lead to Putin. And I personally think that that's what he's doing. And he's telling the whole world, "I didn't know. Pete Hegseth didn't tell me." But he's intentionally letting our stockpiles be depleted. That's to benefit Putin. That's my theory. But I mean, that's just
That's
my
That's very interesting. It didn't even occur to me that that was behind this whole kerfuffle about the depleted stockpile. I thought that he was scheming more on the production of new equipment because we all know that he has stock in a lot of different missiles and other military equipment that his sons are also vested
Yes.
in a drone manufacturing company. And since we understand that the latest meeting that Trump had with Zelensky, Zelensky is going to offer the United States assistance in in drone warfare because apparently Ukraine is the best at that now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so, with that said, you can see a ramp up in production of drones, which the sun if the Suns are going to benefit financially with from their contract with, with the Pentagon.
Yeah.
What the
I
fuck is
know.
happening?
Well, remember Hunter Biden's paintings?
How is this real life? Yeah, Hunter
Yeah.
Biden made $15,000 on a painting, but yeah, get real mad about the hundreds of millions of dollars that these people are grifting
Mhm.
and the billions that Donald Trump has used his office to grift from the presidency. It's
Well,
unbelievable. So
how about how he keeps talking about all the oil money from Venezuela? By the way, he kept talking about to the victor goes the spoils. What victor? What are we the victor? How are we the victor? We took out one despot and replaced him with another. Why is that now all of a sudden our
we're the
oil? And where's
pirates.
the money? Where's the money?
So first of all, we are the pirates in that scenario. We are,
Yeah,
he might think he can frame us as the good guys in that, but I don't know. But he's also claiming that we are taking out hundreds of billions of dollars from Venezuela. Venezuela, their GDP is only $113 billion. So I don't know where he's getting this hundreds of billions of dollars. And
same
he
place he
talked
got that
about
hairpiece.
we're taking out billions of gallons of oil from
Right.
Venezuela. We've only taken out 58 million barrels of oil
And right.
since the extraction. So yeah,
And one
it's
would think
it's all delusion, lies and delusion.
lies and delusion that no one is buying anymore, and not even the base is buying this shit with Iran. I mean, they have I've been on panels with some of the really diehard cultists, and they're like, "No, this is he's destroyed his legacy," which is hilarious to me that they thought he had a legacy prior. But now that he's entangled us in this forever war that there is no end in sight for, they're like, yeah, yeah, that's his legacy now. It's like, really, wow, it took that. It took that, not
Hmm.
January 6th, not COVID, none of that. Yeah, it's just
It's
insane.
funny that you mentioned that you've been on panels with his some of his diehard supporters. So some of his other previously diehard supporters, it looks like they are splintering off to start their own third party. I don't know if you heard about this, but
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Thomas Massey are
Mhm.
considering starting a third party. Now,
Mhm.
I've heard talk about this before. And actually, come to think of it, we usually hear talk about this stuff around election time when people are like, "I'm done with this. I'm going to start my own party." I don't know what kind of party this becomes because we are in a two party system, and really there has not been. And I'm going back to the '90s. I was an independent voter. I voted for Ross Perot actually
Wow.
when I was in college.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Can I finish? Can I
Oh my
finish? Can I
god.
finish? Can I finish? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and I joined that third party because I believe that we should have a viable choice other than the lesser of two evils, right? I thought that voting Democrat or Republican, at the time, I thought they were both the same. And back then, I don't know that maybe that was closer to the truth than it is now. Now it's clear and
Mm.
obvious that there is a humongous difference between both parties. Some folks on the far left and far right will disagree with what I just said, but I can see Democrats want things that make your life better. Healthcare. They want a good, clean air and clean water, clean drinking water,
Mhm.
basics, education, you know, um,
Healthcare.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so forth and so on. So, but anyway, getting back to the third party, I don't know if they're trying to do this, if they really think they can win a presidential election, if they're planning on grinding it out for the next 20 years until they got a serious foothold and help to tank some Republican elections. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now, if this becomes a viable thing, at the very worst, they become spoilers, right? Then
Right.
they take away a critical 10% slice from their establishment candidates. And in best case scenario, they actually end up winning elections and beating Republicans.
Yeah,
I don't know.
what
What do you
worries
think?
me is that they're even more extreme, and so in many ways, some of the things that disappointed them about Trump, are that he didn't go far enough, when it comes to the replacement theory and the deportations,
Yeah.
etcetera. Uh really persecuting his enemies and rivals and retribution. I think that he didn't, for them, go far enough in the xenophobia and the racism and all of that. And that worries me. I mean, these are people who hobnob with Nick Fuentes. You know what I mean? Marjorie
Mm,
Taylor Greene can say
yeah.
that she didn't know who she was talking, whose conference she was speaking at when she was at Nick Fuentes's thing, but bullshit. Um,
Yeah.
they scare me in that regard. But I don't think that they're going to be able to make enough of a difference in the midterms, obviously. It should be
Right.
interesting to see what their impact is in 2028 when, well, he's not on the ballot, right? In theory. He's not on
Yeah.
the ballot in the midterms again, in theory. But it's a cult, and cults don't last that long. You know what I mean? They're going to flame out because you can't maintain it. And if it's all predicated on this one person, which it is, um, and he's on the wane and should be exiting stage left soon, depending on what Mother Nature has in store, or Father Time for that matter. Yeah, I'll be very interested to see what happens to MAGA as a whole. But Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson starting their own thing scares the shit out of me, to be honest. These are not people that I admire, to say the very least. Thomas Massey
Well,
is a bad dude that I don't admire either, but at least
mhm.
I think he's gotten a few things right, in recent past as far as it pertains to Epstein and the war in Iran.
And well, so here's the interesting thing. I think the most contemptible person in that trio is probably Tucker Carlson with his um, great replacement theory or whatever. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm not a fan of hers, but she also came down on the side of healthcare.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
she was talking that up too, and the Epstein stuff. So, what do I think is happening with MAGA right now? I think these three are trying to peel off a portion of the MAGA base that is disillusioned by his broken promises about the war and his broken promises um, about grocery prices and gas prices, and they are also mad that this regime is seeming to give more um, is giving more priority to Israel than to America. There's a lot of people very upset about that, and so I don't think they came out with an official name of their group, but it's probably going to be something close to the America First Caucus, And
mhm.
so you remember the Tea Party
Of course, yeah.
from like the early, yeah. So I think the
Mhm.
Tea Party became MAGA,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
like MAGA is like a more virulent version of the Tea Party, and now MAGA will uh, will devolve into the America First Party, and they'll be even worse and nastier,
Yeah.
I think.
I had this conversation with it's a good segue for us to the Michigan election and the primaries, the other day because I had this conversation with our good friend Tara Setmayer yesterday, um, about that very thing, and, she believes that the DSA is an insurgency in the way that she believed the Tea Party was an insurgency within the Republican Party, and that eventually, they took over the Republican Party and pushed more moderate conservatives, true conservatives like her out. Um, the list is very long. Tom Nichols, Bill Kristol, Tim Miller. There's a lot of folks who were pushed out by that fringe element that has become the predominant wing of the party. But she thinks that the DSA is the equivalent for the Democratic Party, and she thinks that Syed, El Sayed, and others, Mamdani, etc., are the sort of first wave of this insurgency, and it worries her. So I want to get your take because it's a very contentious issue. This is one of those that is a hotbed and a minefield for people to navigate in terms of trying to walk the line between, fear mongering and getting hyperbolic about change, and also understanding and being clear-eyed about the limitations and or restrictions that somebody who seems fringe might have in terms of electability on a broad scale. So I'd be curious to get your take on that election, and on that candidate in particular.
Um, I think, first of all, I think if my grandmother were alive today, she would be in seventh heaven right now about Mamdani and El Sayed because she was Muslim. She's the
Oh,
one who
right.
taught me my prayers and everything. And so the other night when El Sayed was making a speech, he said, "Inshallah," on camera, and my grandmother would have been like,
Yeah.
um, so it feels good to see him succeed and to see him beat out $60 million of outside money because you know if we're talking about getting money out of politics, and that's been his mantra. He's been very disciplined: get money out of politics and put it back in your pocket, et cetera, et cetera. I think
Mhm.
that's a good strong message to have. I think people see all this dark money that's been enabled by the Citizens United ruling,
Mhm.
and they see that money in politics is a bad thing. That a guy like Elon Musk can take a fraction of his billions or $1 trillion and plunk it into an election and change the course of it. What's funny about that is that I think he dropped something like $20 million in Wisconsin or something, and he swung and missed. That he lost
In
it.
the
That would just
Supreme Court race.
set that. Yeah, he set that
Yeah.
money on fire. So that's a good thing. I
Mhm.
think El Sayed is also in favor of Medicare for all. I don't know how feasible excuse me, I don't know how feasible that is, but I think it's an important discussion to have because right now, what we have with Medicare, with healthcare, there's like 20 million people who just got booted off or
Right.
are unable to afford the Affordable Care Act because the subsidies went bye bye.
Mhm.
Um, so healthcare is an area where nobody has any sense of security. Those prices are too damn high. Medicare for all. Let's have the discussion. Let's move the ball forward because the ball isn't going forward right now. Donald Trump is talking about his great what's it calling it? The great healthcare plan. That's it.
Yes,
That
it's
you had 15 fucking years to come up with something,
yeah.
and that's what you came up with, you
It
jackass.
it
I
reminds me
think
of
what
Bodie
you
McBoatface. Do you remember that when they named the
yeah.
division? It's healthcare McHealthcare. It's like, that's not the name of it.
But I think you're right about the hyperbolic nature of these discussions. I think a lot of people are worried. There's no worry about the United States somehow becoming a socialist country. We're capitalist, and that's how it's going to remain. The democratic socialist of America. Um, they're going to be in favor of some things that are appealing to a lot of young kids who are looking at a future without hope. They're looking
Mm,
at, I won't be able to afford a house until I'm in my 40s,
right.
for crying out loud. What happened to my American dream? What happened to me being able to afford college without a predatory loan, without being in hock with a loan for the rest of my life?
Mhm.
So people from that DSA have a more helpful, hopeful message. And I think it should be a message to the establishment party. Y'all better start coming up with shit that the young people want to hear. You want to better come up with some solutions that aren't just incremental change. I
Yep.
think I think people are getting tired of that bullshit. I think people are getting tired of the political speak, the
Yeah.
talking around in circles without really saying anything. When we
Mhm.
ask you a question, we want a fucking answer. We don't want to be circle jerked. We want an answer. And so this is what these voters are sending the message. And
Yeah.
listen up, establishment. They are talking to you. And if you don't, if you don't listen, we're going to lose more elections than we win going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think also a lot of the times the pendulum swings in, back in a more extreme fashion, and eventually it settles back in. That I think that that's what you see with, movements that are away from the establishment. But I think you're absolutely right. And I think that one of the problems with the Democratic Party is that we've been so stagnant for so long, and so
Mm,
resistant to change. It's funny because again, the Republican Party turned themselves inside out into a cult of personality in the span of less than a decade, and yet the Democratic Party is still very institutionalized. It's still the same hierarchical structure. It's still the same approach to governance. And I think that you're exactly right. What the people are saying, what they said overwhelmingly in New York, and what they said in this primary in Michigan, and what they've said in primaries in New York City for congressional seats, where long standing members of Congress were removed from the running because they wanted a change. Voters want a change, particularly young people, because they are
mm,
disenfranchised, because they're looking at a Democratic Party that says that they are the alternative to Republicans. And while that is true, they also don't feel it. They don't feel
yeah.
any of that, right? Whether that's just because the Republicans are in charge of everything at the moment, or whether that's because of a systemic problem for the last many decades where the Democratic Party has very much been stagnant. And so I think it is an interesting conversation to have, and a necessary conversation to have, because it should force the Democratic Party to make big changes, to the way that they do business and the way that they appeal to voters. And again,
Hmm.
I don't think that you have to take everything that the DSA stands for and represents and say, that's for me. And not everything
Hmm.
is going to be for everyone all the time. But there are
Right.
things that we can take that resonate with voters and motivate voters to show up and vote. And as long as we get them to not vote for Republicans, we should be in good shape. But like, I don't also think it is this scary, boogeyman in the corner that is looming as some great threat to our country. I think that that's the kind of thing you do when you're afraid of change. I also think a lot of former Republicans are without a home right now. And it cracks me up because a lot of the time they think that they're the ones who have the best insight on what's wrong with the Democratic Party. And to that, I say, you lost your whole fucking party to a former TV reality game show host who paints himself orange and wears his mother's fucking merkin on his head. Okay. Like,
It's funny.
forgive me, but I'm not going to necessarily defer to your expertise on all things Democratic Party because you lost your party to a mob and a cult. So I think
But
we
what
have to
about
walk
Sharia
this.
law?
Yeah.
Huh? And what
Yeah.
about Sharia law? They've been
Yeah.
ringing that alarm
They
for
really have.
for decades.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and have you noticed that they're trying to Barack Hussein Obama El Sayed? They're calling him
Yeah.
now. They're calling him Abdul Rahman
Oh my God.
Sayed, which I
Yeah.
think is I believe that is technically his name, Abdul Rahman, but he doesn't go by that. He goes by Abdul El Sayed. They
Yeah. I
want to
mean,
add that extra thing to make him sound extra Muslimy. Oh, scary.
right. I mean, that's all they have. That's all they have
Yeah.
is fear mongering. They're drumming up the same old tropes, communists, that if they take over the country, everything will fall apart. Again, just look at New York
Trans for
City right now.
everybody.
Right, right.
Trans for everybody.
Mutilization. And as a sidebar to all of this, because this is insane, and like it get any attention whatsoever. But the sitting president of the United States of America is repeatedly, this is nothing necessarily new, and we know that during COVID he was trying to do like blue states get less than red states. He keeps talking about how the real enemy here are blue cities and blue states. He keeps
Yeah.
framing the American citizens as the enemy because they didn't vote for him.
Hmm.
He's talking about their cities being shitholes. By the way, like I said, I was in Chicago. I'm a stone's throw away from New York City. They are two of the cleanest cities that I have been to in my life. Chicago, you could
Yep.
eat off the freaking sidewalks, okay?
Hmm.
Um, so he's trying to create a civil war really between
Yeah.
red states and blue states. But I always go back to this because it's important. Because by the way, ICE was in my town today and yesterday. Just pointing that out. Terrifying. A friend of my daughter's, her dad was arrested or taken, kidnapped. But there's plenty of Trump voters here in my town. Overwhelmingly went for Trump 3 times. So the fact that he's attacking blue states and blue cities, states that didn't vote for him, cities that didn't vote for him, you can't separate out the people who did. So he's attacking all Americans. He's attacking people who voted for. But like, how insane is it that the
Yeah.
sitting president of the United States openly vilifies half of the people he's supposed to be the leader of?
It's very un-American and it's unpresidential. It makes me miss the days when we had a president who said, "I don't want to be a president for the blue states. I don't want to be a president for the red states. I want to be a president for the United States." And that would have
Mhm.
been Mr. Joe Biden, who used to say that. Probably Obama probably said some version of that too. And come to think of it, I don't want to give Bush any credit really, but he might have said something similar to that too. This
Well,
this
after
guy
nine
that we
11, he
have,
certainly modeled that, like, to Bush, to
he
W's
did
credit.
didn't he galvanize the country?
Yeah.
George W. Bush?
Yep.
Donald Trump repeatedly. I am currently working. I'm in the middle of a Substack called "The Beginner's Guide of How to President." Right? you know, and one of those things that I say, there's so many very basic things that he is messing up on. Like, it's like, don't say, I don't care, I don't pay attention to Americans' financial situations. Like, there's so many basic things, mistakes that he's made. It's like if you were a quarterback in a football game and you said hike and they hiked you the ball and you turned around and threw it with all your might over your own goalposts. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing, man?
Yeah, like he
and then
said.
half of the and then half of the audience cheered for that nonsense.
Right. He said he didn't know, he hadn't thought about this poopy lettuce. He was asked by, Ducey Light in the Oval Office, "What do you think about this cyclospora
Cyclo,
outbreak?"
yeah,
And he said, "I haven't thought about it." He said, "I haven't thought about it." It's now
it's
killed 2
nuts.
people, by the way, but this was
Yeah,
when there were thousands and thousands of cases in this country of people being poisoned because of that outbreak, and he said, "I haven't thought about it." And he goes, "Do you think about it? Do you eat a lot of lettuce?" And it's like, holy shit. Thousands of people in this country, that country you're supposed to be the president of, are very, very sick, and you hadn't thought about it. Hadn't thought about it.
he's
Like, our food
he's
supply is
being
tainted.
he is being sheltered from bad news. That's it. Nothing bad. Like the same philosophy that they have, like what they're trying to do with our history in school, like
Mm.
taking all the negative stuff that make us feel sad. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear about slavery. Slavery was good sometimes.
It
They want
trained
to
them
take
to
all
do
that.
good things. Yeah.
They
Think of
want to
all
take
this
all the
news.
negative stuff out and only show him the good. That's why he thinks that America's an economy. He's only looking at the stock market, which, by the way, a majority of Americans do not have stocks and they're not involved in the stock market. So when the Dow is up, most of America's like, so fucking
Yeah,
what?
who
I have to
cares?
decide which of these items I'm taking out of my shopping cart
Right.
because I can't afford all of them.
Yeah. I
Um,
I don't
I'm
necessarily
sorry that I
yeah.
got all digressed. I don't know where the hell I was going with that.
No, no, no. You're right about shielding him, in many ways from bad news, but
Oh, the
I don't think it would
cyclospora. Yeah.
yeah, I don't actually think it would matter whether or not he was told or informed about bad news because he comes from that power positive thinking cult mind mentality where it's like even if it's bad, it's that Roy Cohn kind of thing, right? Like where even if it's bad, you somehow spin it to be good or you just lie and you just continue
Or
to
blame it
push
on somebody else.
or
Yeah.
blame it on somebody else. We've seen every combination of that, right? So everything that's
Yeah.
bad is still Biden's fault, which is fucking hilarious. We're 560 something days into his second season of this shit show, and he's still
Hmm.
blaming the last president, which to me is an admittance of your own fucking fecklessness. Because if you're supposed to be all powerful and you can't manage to unshackle yourself from a guy you said didn't even know what he was doing, who hasn't been the president for 560 fucking days, you're admitting your
Hmm.
own incompetence. But he continues to
Yeah.
do that, or he manufactures boogeymen. He manufactures bad guys. Like the reflecting pool
Vandals.
is vandals. It's the perfect sort of metaphor and encapsulation of this mindset because no matter how many people provide him with proof, with evidence, with photographs, with a discharged indictment that is no longer in place, he will
Yeah.
still tell you that it was vandalized and that he can prove it because he cannot fundamentally, like spiritually, can cosmetically in any way shape or form he cannot ever admit that he was responsible for something that went wrong no matter how many things go wrong. That's why they're all comfortable blaming Fauci for all of the fucked up shit that happened during COVID. They're blaming Fauci when Donald Trump was the one who blew the whole fucking thing and then went
Yeah.
golfing.
Hmm. I'm so glad you brought that up because it was really sickening to watch that debacle. You're 100% right. Not only was Donald Trump the president, the guy who's the president, that's the guy who you want to hold accountable. So you're mad at Dr. Fauci, right? So why aren't you mad at the guy who deployed Dr. Fauci? And for the record, I'm 100%, excuse me, 100% camp or team Fauci. Um, but what about the guy who downplayed the severity of COVID? Didn't he kind of handicap our response by saying, "Oh, it's going to go away. It's going to go away like magic in the spring. It'll be gone." Um, he like let people think that they could potentially use disinfectant to eradicate the virus. And to the point, like, no, people didn't take that seriously. The emergency rooms were overflowing with people who had ingested bleach because he said so. And on and on. There were so many different ways that he could have told people to exercise caution to keep the numbers down. Somebody said, I can't remember which politician said that the emergency rooms, the hospitals were empty. That was bullshit because
Oh yeah.
I remember in New York City, there were trucks. They were using
Mhm.
these trucks, refrigerated trucks, as
Yep.
rolling morgues.
Orcs. Yep.
Every spare room in the hospital was being turned into an ICU. They were running out of supplies, and then fucking Jared Kushner was making decisions to deprive blue states of supplies and send the supplies to the red states. This is what that evil motherfucker was doing. So you want to open this shit up again and relitigate it? We're game for it. We're game for it. But now I understand why President Biden gave that preemptive pardon
Yep.
to Dr. Fauci because they were going to do shit like this. He saw it ahead of time. It was like, they're going to be vindictive as fuck with this guy. So better protect him. I'm going to cover my son. I'm so glad he did those things. I'm so glad he did it. People were like, oh, he's starting a president. No, no, no. He had to do it. If a vindictive guy like Donald Trump is coming into office, and look, he's already proven right. Dr. James Comey
James Comey.
indicted for seashells.
Yep.
Right.
Tish James.
Uh, Tisha James, all of these people for frivolous
Mhm.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, I don't fault Dr. Fauci for taking the fifth because the pardon that he was granted does not cover anything he says after the pardon was granted. And what they were looking for, what Rand Paul in particular was looking for, Josh Hawley, etc., was for him to somehow indict himself, hang himself with some comment in response to them baiting him into giving them answers that they could then turn around and say, "Look, see, he's a criminal." I mean, they already said now he's in contempt of a congressional subpoena because he refused to answer questions under oath. That's his right. He can. By the way, Donald Trump also pleaded the fifth 440 times in
yep.
the Eugene Carroll case. So fuck off
Hmm.
if you're going to tell me that it's an admittance of guilt. But they
Yeah.
were trying to rewrite history just like they've tried to do with January 6th when it comes to COVID. And the last thing I'll say about this is everything you said is absolutely right. But we're not even talking about what he did when he weaponized the fucking vaccine that could have been his one true accomplishment. It could have been
Right.
Operation Warp Speed, could have been something that he legitimately could have taken credit for because it did happen on his watch, thanks
He
to
still does,
people.
by the way. He
He
still
does, but
does
he
take credit
doesn't,
for that.
right? Like
Yeah.
he tries to have it both ways. He tries to eat his cake and have it too because he was also very anti-vax, virulently anti-vax. A guy who was vaccinated was anti-vax. A guy whose presidency was the one where they created the mRNA vaccines for COVID. The point is here, he went so far, and his cult of a party went so far to attack the efficacy and safety of a world-changing vaccine that Republicans in counties that voted for Donald Trump once the vaccine was widely available were dying at twice the rate of Democrats because they weren't getting vaccinated, even though the president of the United States and most of those fucking assholes on that dais grilling
Hmm.
Dr. Fauci were the first fuckers in line to get the vaccine. Republicans were dying on I own the libs by denying science hill. Congrats on that, by the way, Jeb.
Yep.
You owned me by dying of COVID when you didn't have to because you could have taken the shot. But they turned the shot into oppression
Hmm.
in an unsafe attack on your bodily autonomy, which is hilarious coming from a party that's trying to make it so that I don't have reproductive rights.
Mm. Oh, by the way, that is actually I saw a video. I can't remember who was talking about it, but they were saying that they're trying to make the Dobbs thing permanent in every state,
Yeah, that's one of Todd
and
Blanche's
by going
directives.
after mifepristone.
That's right. Yep, mifepristone
Yeah.
is the abortion drug. It's you can get it in the mail. They're gonna try and use the Comstock Act. This is in Project 2025. Everything, all of this is in Project 2025. You knew
Which we
this
were
was
warning
coming.
people about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You knew this was coming. And when you look at the red states where there have been the most restrictive bans, by the way, it's horrific. And again, I talk about this a lot because Texas was ahead of the curve because Abbott is especially evil and they were ahead of
Yeah.
Dobbs. And the numbers in Texas that have been coming back uh, are just disgusting. The numbers of women who are dying, the numbers of rape survivors who are being forced to give birth. This is happening in red state after red state after red state, and it's terrifying and it's heartbreaking. And I shudder to think of there being a nationwide ban. It's the kind of thing that reminds me, of The Handmaid's Tale, and we have to vote like our all of our rights are on the line because they are.
Joe, put up this comment by James Claggett. Fauci was just an advisor and held no real power. The shutdowns were
It's
ordered
true.
by Trump and state governors. Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. Yeah, it's 100% true. But again, when you have an easy target, it's always been Fauci. They've always gone after Fauci. They've always vilified Fauci because it's easier than actually dealing with the reality of Donald Trump's failures. I mean, we also don't talk about the fact that he gutted the pandemic response department before that pandemic even began. I mean, I,
Hmm.
it's just disgusting and staggering and really grotesque. But it's the thing about it too is that it's Orwellian, and we've seen this with January 6th, and we've seen it with the insurrectionists, and the fact that he's still trying to get through this fucking $1.776 billion fund. And by the way, a special fuck you to Tom Tillis, who is now very solidly in on team Todd Blanche and helped his nomination get through committee. Um, yeah, because he's
Did
a
you hear? Did you
freaking
hear?
fool.
Did you hear Tom Tillis earlier today said was blaming Obama and
Yeah,
Hillary Clinton for prosecuting
yeah.
uh, Trump? Like,
I,
wait,
what?
was that when they were both attorney general,
Yeah,
dude? Was that when they prosecuted him?
right.
Because I don't remember Trump being prosecuted by anybody until Biden was in office, and then it was only for the business thing, the fraud.
Yeah, just go, Tom. Go away, Tom. He my favorite thing was he said that Todd Blanche was the only attorney general who was willing to meet with the Epstein survivors. And by the way, if you're so stupid that you actually believe that Todd Blanche, who wasn't meeting and had not met with the Epstein survivors, didn't just meet with them because you said it was a condition of your pushing him through committee. If you listen to the survivors after that meeting, they were horrified.
He
They were
was very dismissive of them.
yes,
He
yes,
told them, can we get to the point already?"
yes, and
What?
But Tillis said today he's the only attorney general who was willing to meet with them, and, I think that's, he's a man of his word. He's a man of his word. But with that, I just looked at the time and I realized we've been going for a little while here. So, any final
So
thoughts you
easy.
have wrapping up this
Yeah,
week?
I wanted to briefly just touch back on that thing we were talking about with the election, the Democratic primaries. I think the once the dust settles, it finishes settling, and people realize what's at stake. And I think we will. I think it's not hard. I think everybody when they wake up in the morning, they know what kind of country we're living in now. We know that there is currently no accountability for ICE agents who walk around with masks on their face and they brutalize and they tase and they beat and they throw people in their unmarked vans and they deprive them of rights and they put them in these concentration camps where they're forced to eat filthy food and drink dirty water. And that's just one thing. And I haven't even gotten to this illegal war that we're involved in and the higher prices that is causing everybody and the tariffs that he's illegally imposing. All this shit, and the Republicans are just standing by, watching all of it with their hands in their pockets, like I can't do anything. A politician said, I can't remember who it was, and said we can't rein in. Who was it that said that we can't rein in this president? Um,
Oh, it was,
Cornyn. It was John
John
Cornyn who
Cornyn.
said
Yeah,
that bullshit. I was like, what? Motherfucker,
run
that is
that as an
half of your
ad.
job. So I think Democrats, we're going to iron out our differences in time to make this midterm the biggest blue wave we've ever seen in the history of the country.
From your lips to God's ears. I mean, if the polling the polling holds true, we should be in wonderful shape. Knock on wood. Again, we can't suffer from a lack of imagination as to what Donald Trump will do. He is desperate, and if we just get the House, let alone the House and the Senate, it's game over for so much of these shenanigans. He will have actual constraints, and there will be subpoenas. There will be hearings. There will be accountability, and it's going to shut down a lot of the corruption. That's and the abuse of power. And he knows that. He knows that, and he's terrified of that. So he will do whatever it takes. But we need the Democrats to to show some real strength and unity going through the next several years so that we can come out of these two as intact as possible because God
Yeah.
knows it's going to take the work of generations to unfuck so much of what he's fucked already, and just the environmental rollbacks, the things he's doing to our planet, you know what I mean, like
Hmm.
the things he's done to our museums and obviously our monuments. I mean, this freaking arch crap and all of the other garbage, and the fact that he tore down the East Wing. I mean, it's just so much. It's so much, but the only way out is through, and the only way through is together. And there's nobody coming to save us. We talk about this all the time. We, the people, are stronger than the people in power.
Also, I'm sorry. One final thing. I forgot to mention. I know I wanted to talk about data centers at some point. Maybe we'll get into it next week because it is going to be pretty much an evergreen topic.
Yeah.
Um, Data centers are bad news, and I'm saying this. I understand that there are some good things that AI can do. I understand that. But I don't like how these data centers are being thrust upon community after
Mm-mm.
community after community. And Donald Trump is busy saying, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, what? You're not even explaining to people anything. You're not even sweetening the pot. You're saying, here, you're going to take this shit pie and you're going to like it. You're not going to be able to hear birds singing in your neighborhood because these data centers are loud enough to hear from 2 miles away.
Hmm.
Um, and people are just being these things are just being thrust upon communities. So there is a bipartisan um, opposition to these data centers, and I think if Democrats don't jump on that and capitalize on that, that's like political malpractice.
Yeah,
So
I
stay
agree.
tuned and pay attention to that.
Yeah, and look for a video I have coming out tomorrow about my congressman, Tom Kane Jr., because I learned this recently while he was out for 4 months getting paid, and playing the stock market. The stocks he was buying were largely stocks related to data centers, and he sits on committees that
Huh,
oversee regulations and restrictions on data centers.
of
So
course he does.
he's up for re-election in November against Rebecca Bennett here in New Jersey 7. So that I have a video coming out about that tomorrow. He
Nice.
was out collecting a paycheck for mental health issues, things he voted against people having money to be able to deal with, while making money off of the very things he is supposed to be having oversight over, which includes data centers. It's just like a fucking Russian nesting doll of
Get his
grotesquerie.
ass,
It's
Joe.
really,
Get his
yeah,
ass.
yeah, yeah. He's gotta go. He's gotta go. Tom Kane Jr., you gotta go. Um, but it was great to talk to you as always, my friend. I apologize again for the delay in us getting together and doing this. We are going to be on a regular cadence. I don't have any trips planned other than Bruno Mars coming up at the end of the month, which is fucking exciting.
Bruno
Um,
Mars?
yeah, I got
Oh,
them for Christmas for the kids. So yeah, at MetLife, I love him. I
oh, that is
love
so cool.
him.
He's the best. He's
I
amazing.
just love
Wow.
him. Yeah, and we have a tradition in my family when we go to Yankees games, we listen to Bruno Mars. It's just what you have to do. So,
Ah, that's cool.
but yeah, I love him. But we'll be here next Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. We're a little late today again, my fault. As always. But it was great to see everybody in the chat. Also next week, Brooklyn, my friend Andrea, who's in the chat, she offered to be a moderator for us to kick out some of the trolls, which haven't been too bad today. But
Nice.
I'll figure out how to make that happen so that we can kick their asses out and just have a nice chat with adults and sane adjacent people. It's good to see you as always, and thanks to
Yes,
everybody in the
same here.
chat. All right, guys. With that, we will see you next week. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brooklyn.
Where's the music?
I don't know.
Da-na-na-na.
Wait, I can find it.
Da-na-na-na.
I don't know how to. Okay, here we go. Here it is.
Da-na-na-na.
Now we got it. I'm really good. A really good producer, as you can tell. Okay, bye guys. Bye, Brooklyn.